everybody. Welcome back to Photographer Life Check. I'm your host, Chrissy, and today we have the illustrious DeeDee Casimir. Hey! DeeDee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. Before we jump into the Photographer Fit Check, actually, I want to say thank you to Dakota Whiting for putting you into my awareness. That's how I found you. And we made a call out a couple months ago, just asking for more folks that people want to see, that they're already thinking about and would love to hear from. So shout out to Dakota for that. We love you and appreciate you.
Love Dakota so much. I miss her and Kevin. I used to be hanging out with
I
Kevin
know. Aren't they the cutest?
every week. Used to be chilling at Black Image Center on Thursday nights? Used to be having a ball.
Damn, that's so crazy. It's insane how I didn't meet you then. I used to be at Black Image Center all the time.
And it's so funny because I would be in there, posted,
It's so
thanks
crazy.
to
We
him
was
for not
there on
being on
different days.
I know, because it would literally just be like Thursday nights, like no one would really be in there, and it would just be me and Dakota, and Kevin would always come in after work. It'll be all three of us chilling.
That's so cute.
I know.
That's so crazy. I still thought you were on the East Coast when I first reached out to you. That's when he was like, nah, I'm in LA. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy.
I do be on the East Coast. Like I had just gotten back from like a couple weeks on there, but yeah, I'm in LA. I'm from New
Okay,
York,
beautiful.
so I'm glad I still give New York. After all these years in LA, I'm glad I'm still putting
Hey,
on
you
for the home.
can't let it go.
You can't.
Exactly. All right, let's hop into the photographer fit check of it all. Photographer fit check. I love talking about something that we're wearing. It could be your shirt, it could be the braids if they just got freshly done, the shades, the glasses, however you feeling. Let us know something about what you wear.
I guess we'll do all of it. So my hair, this is my hair right now.
Oh, gorgeous.
Oh. So it's apparently called like
Yes.
Patweo. It's like a indigenous like Nigerian hairstyle. But I went to a wedding last weekend and the dress code was whimsical black tie. So I was like, you know what? And
Ooh.
everybody came like I already knew. I'm like, I know this guest list. They about to come with that shit on. So I was like, all right, let me step it
Mm-hmm.
up. I'm not a very like I don't not a, accessories patterns like that's not my style. But I was like, all right, I
Okay.
gotta do a little something. I say my style. I'm like Kendall Jenner at the Met Gala. Kendall, she gonna come, she gonna look nice, she gonna look good, but she's not on theme. She's not doing all the razzle dazzle.
Okay.
She'll look
Because I was
great.
just thinking, I can't even remember a Kindle look. Like, is it
Kendall,
giving,
it's a costume institute, but she's like, I can't
I'm
do all
just going to
that.
wear a cute little dress?
But I will come and I will look
Okay.
nice, you know? So
Okay, cute. Okay.
I was like, all right, how we gonna whimsy it up? So that was my hairstyle. This is the whimsical part of my style.
Yes.
And I actually really like it. I've never done my hair like this. I'm notoriously known for having like just long box braids like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But a little switch up was kind of cute. And
I like
then
the switch up. That's super cute.
thank you. And then these glasses are Lisa Johnson. Obsessed. Elisa, put me on your payroll. I'd be in the club like, so Elisa? Oh yeah. Then she went to so put me on payroll. I need 10%. And then this
Period.
shirt,
And those are super cute. They give like 70s.
thank you. That's my favorite time period too. If I could be transported,
Mm.
I would be a Soul Train girl in the 70s.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I'll be right there with you, too.
I'd be sneaking out. And then my dad found out, I'd be like, no, daddy, you don't get it. I need to
Right.
dance. I love it. I love it. It makes me happy.
Hitting
And
splits in the
then
middle of the Soul Train line.
exactly. And then this t-shirt, it's literally my favorite t-shirt. I try to wear it less because it's always on me. It was also in my film, one of the costumes in my film.
Hmm.
And it is Lauren Halsey, who's a fine artist out of South Central. She did a collaboration with Online Ceramics. And the guys that own Online Ceramics, like a t-shirt, like merch line, they are like notorious film buffs. So they collaborated on this t-shirt that they gave out when David Kordansky, which is like an LA blue chip gallery, when they opened up their New
Mm-hmm.
York location, Lauren Halsey's work opened it up. That was like the opening exhibition, and they made this shirt
Mm.
to like commemorate the opening. So I was not in
Amazing.
work during the opening, but I used to nanny for the woman who ran the gallery, and she
Mm.
gave it to me for my birthday. and I love it.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. Such a classic look you got going on.
Well, thank you. Did you get your
Yes.
paycheck?
Well, I do.
Yeah,
Today's
what's
photographer
your
fit check
paycheck?
for me.
Yeah, what's
This
yours?
hat, I always forget the name of the designer. I know her name starts with Emily though. But
Okay.
I just love this hat. I think this is also like my little whimsy because it's like a floppy little hat.
Mm.
It reminds me of the 90s. I love this hat.
Mm.
Um, and then the suit actually, it's a matching set. I also have them the shorts. It's from Change. One of my favorite like contemporary brands right now. They're super into um saving the planet, social justice, and they have make really comfy clothes too. And it's really designed really well. It's nice and thick. So shout out to Change. I wear them a lot actually.
I love that.
Okay, now let's hop into it. Today's life check, in case this is y'all first time tuning in, Photographer Life Check is all about the things that are happening in our image makers' lives. And DeeDee Casimir is an incredible filmmaker that I just got the opportunity to watch your film, Last Hoorah at G Babies. Thank you so much. It was really, really awesome. But before we dive deep into it, because that is mostly what the life check will be about, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you so much for even reaching out to me. This is so awesome. I saw all the other people you've spoken to, and I was just like, I'm just so glad to be in good company with all these
Oh,
people, to
period.
be in the same peer group as them. My name is DeeDee Casimir. I'm born and raised in New York. I'm the youngest of 7 from Haitian immigrants. I came from
Mhm.
a fashion background, and then I pivoted to film, which is a very interesting origin story, and then moved out to LA to get my master's, my MFA in film, and I've been rolling ever since.
I love to hear it. You talking about that's an interesting story being a fashion gal to a filmmaker. What happened there? How did we do that? How did we get there?
Oh, Chrissy, so much. So my God.
Real.
What really happened is my sister is a fashion publicist.
Mhm.
So, it was in New York, and my sister's 5 years older than me. So when I'm 15, she's 20. When I'm 20,
Mm.
she's, 25. So one, like in high school, I would always take classes. There's this very popular fashion school called FIT. So I would always take
Mhm.
classes at FIT like on the weekends. That's actually, speaking of Elisa Johnson, I met her when we were teenagers doing a summer program at one of the New York City fashion schools.
Oh,
And
amazing.
backstory, I know. And then all these years
Right?
later, now she has this amazing brand, and I'm like, cool.
Oh, right. That's so tight.
No, we both live in LA. I haven't seen her, but I like want to see her one day. And I'll be like, I'm so happy for you because she's really
I
doing
think
great.
you're manifesting it honestly with
Yes,
how much you love the design. I'm like, I
I
feel like
love
it's
it.
coming to you.
When I was at the wedding, we're at brunch in Durham, North Carolina, and all 3 girls had different frames. One of my homegirls had the Janes in silver, I had the gold, and one of my friends had the big ones in like black. And we were
I
all
also
talking
love
about,
this. I feel like okay, so one thing, anytime we have any notes or like gems, I always put them in the show notes. And I'm definitely gonna put Elisa Johnson in the show notes because it's just a part of your fit check. But I feel like you're already influencing me that I need to go to this website like right now so
listen.
I can
And
see
the
some
whole thing
options.
behind it was she was always known for having big sunglasses, and she was always trying to find her way. She
Mm,
said that her parents were kind of like, "Girl, like, what is the thing? Like, what are you gonna do?" She was like starting to sing. And I remember on Instagram, like, she was one of those fly girls who was just always like dripped down. I remember the first time I saw someone in like
mm,
Chanel, like I remember I was in a buying class, fashion buying class. We went
mhm.
to Saks Fifth Avenue. I saw these Chanel little mule with the little chain around, and I was like, went to class the next day. Elisa had them on. I said,
Oh.
hold on. That was the first time I ever seen someone in like in season shit that was like currently on the
Mm,
shelf. I said, oh, we moving different out here.
right,
We
gagging us
moving
all.
different.
Okay.
I've never seen some shit like that anymore. But she used to be dripped like over the. I'd always follow her on Instagram. And she ain't never give a hashtag. She ain't never give an ad. It's just fly. You know what I mean?
Just
Like I am the
okay.
ad. right? No tags, no nothing.
Right.
Over the years, she'd always be like kind of teasing something like a site or like she was singing and she said that she just couldn't figure out what her thing was and her parents were starting to get frustrated with her like, "Girl, what is it?" And I'm like,
Uh,
honestly, same. My dad was sick of my ass. But then she
talking about
finally
relatable
always
content.
be asking her like, "Where are your frames from? Where are your frames from?" And she finally was like, "Wait, why don't I start my
Mm.
own line?" But she also said that she felt like it was
Wow.
so ridiculous how expensive sunglasses are. Like, I saw these Loewe sunglasses in Neiman's and like $500. Neiman's, Loewe, if you hear this, I don't know if Chrissy got motion like that, but please send them. Send them my way.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
I
I know
won't.
y'all watching. What's up?
Exactly, exactly. We won't deny it, but it was the fact like that is so expensive sunglasses, and we all know everyone loses sunglasses. It's just, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So she was like,
It's
"What
a
if I
part of
create
your
my?"
relationship with sunglasses.
Exactly, like knowing that one day they will transition, into the black hole of life. So yeah, she created her own line, and the whole thing's like none of them are like over 150. They're all like moderately priced,
Nice.
and
Okay. Shout
yeah,
out to
so that's
Elisa.
Well, Lisa, okay? Girl, DeeDee looking for you, okay?
Okay. I
Um,
like this fit check too. We got a little history. I'm into it.
I used to take classes on the weekends, and I used to always help my sister for free at fashion shows when they were short-staffed, so I remember she worked at Zac Posen, which is now,
Mhm.
you know, no longer in business. But, Zach was known for his like ball gowns and like all this stuff. And I remember the first fashion show I went to was Zach posing at the Plaza Hotel. And it was like the most
Mhm.
fabulous thing ever. And like there was snow on the ground and it was so New York. So I was in
Mm.
college. I went to Howard for undergrad. And everyone always knew me as like a fashion person. Like I always thought I was going to work in the fashion industry. I worked at a photo agency, BFA. So they do a lot of fashion photography, especially at the time. Now they've ventured out more, but like, I remember that's where I met Virgil Abloh. That's where I met the designers like Rochambeau, like doing like the coolest like side quest things on like my summers.
Yeah.
So I just always thought
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm a work in fashion. I worked at Marie Claire magazine, Town and Country, and then I graduated from college. My first job out of school, I worked for a small women's wear brand in Brooklyn on Quincy and Marcy, and I got fired for my first job at a school. And
Ah.
I remember, Chrissy, that job beat me down. Oh my God,
Mm.
it beat me down. I remember the editor I worked for at Marie Claire. She was a black woman, and she used to work at Vibe back in the day, and she'd worked at
Okay.
Vogue. And she said, I had a tougher time working at Vibe than I did at Vogue. And I felt
No.
her on that.
Damn.
That black woman,
I hate when
oof,
that happens.
man, it was tough. And I'm pretty strong. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's very few things that phase me, but I was like, yeah, she beat me down. So I remember I got fired
Damn.
and I just remember being like, I actually don't even think I want this shit anymore. Like it just made me like reevaluate things. One, like from that
Yeah.
situation, like I didn't realize like what agency I had. It's kind of
Mm.
hard when you're working in that environment. Fashion can be so people always like, what's worse, fashion or film? Like fashion. Because a lot of times
Mhm.
you are working out of someone's house while they're building their brand. Like you think Michael Kors started on Madison Avenue in a big store in a
Right.
headquarters. No. That shit started in his dorm room at FIT. You know what I mean? Marc Jacobs
Right.
started, in his dorm or using the facilities at Parsons. Like that's how it is. So there's really no like course of action. There's no HR. It's
Mhm.
really just you and the
Yeah.
person. And then for me, like 23, it's like, no, girl, these are like violations. You know what I mean? Like this would not
Right.
fly
Yeah.
in at Hearst Tower at Marie Claire, you know? So I
Yeah.
remember leaving that situation terrified to get another job. I didn't work for months. I didn't work
Mm.
for months. I'm from New York, so I lived at home. And I remember my dad being like, my dad was actually the one who was like, "Why don't you quit?" And I was like, "Quit?" He was like, "Yeah, quit." He's like, "I love to quit." I was like, "Well,
Period, dad.
hold on." I spoke to my dad the other day. I
There
said,
go
"Aren't you at work?" He was like, "I quit." They was doing too
There
much.
go that agency. You
Hello?
know,
Listen,
sometimes we really need a man to learn our agency and how to be truly autonomous. Cause they just get it. They come out the womb like this is mine, this is what I'm gonna do. Woo woo.
listen, George
Shout out to
Casimir,
Dad.
shout out to Poppy. That man, he was like, "Why don't you quit?" I was like, "Well, if I quit," he was like, "Girl, it's 8 a.m. and you're already bitching about your coworker. Like, what are we talking about here?" So when I got fired, he wasn't even mad. He didn't. He was like, "Yeah, we're over her. Like, this is
Yeah,
don't care. You live at home. You don't pay bills.
exactly.
Like, just keep going back to doing what you was doing before." So I was like,
Right.
"Oh, okay." So I remember like I was trying to get a job and then I was just scared. Like I literally had like PTSD. I was like, I'm afraid to get another job. I'm afraid the same thing's gonna happen again, you know?
Yeah.
And eventually my best friend Lisa, and I reminded her of this, and she was like, "Oh, I said that. I'm so wise." I remember she was like, "You're gonna have to work again. Like we just started. We got like 40 more years in the workforce." But she
Right.
was like, "You have to figure out what you did at the job well and what you enjoyed, and
Mm,
then translate that to something else." So I was the studio manager for this brand, and so I did everything that was not related to clothing, like making the clothing,
right.
you know, not talking to the factories. So I managed seamstresses. Like I had like a staff. I paid people out every week. I managed all the orders. When we had shoots, I worked with the photographers. I worked the locations. So like I was doing production design. She told me her vision for a shoot and I like actually like executed that, you know?
Nice. Yeah.
And these are all things that I was just doing was I was told, but I didn't realize they were skills. And now what I know is no,
Right.
girl, that was production design.
You were producing. Yeah.
I was producing. I was producing. Thank you.
Come on. Shout out to your
Girl.
friend too, off the top.
Girl. Listen, shout out to Lisa. Okay. And I was like, now I'm like, oh no, you were producing. No credit, uncredited. You know what I mean? Unpaid too.
Mm,
Unpaid. It was grueling. But I then was
Jesus.
like, okay. Spoke to the only person I knew in TV and film. She's actually now I see she's an agent at WME. Her name is Victoria Romley. I need to reach out to her because she really was like the
Mm.
catalyst to like this chapter of my life. But I did a
Oh,
program
wow.
after Howard at the Cannes Film Festival and I hated it.
Mhm.
Cannes is so fucking racist. They hate black people.
Mm.
Whatever
I
y'all
guess that's
be
not
hearing,
surprising.
Pinterest, they hate ninjas. Okay, I'm sitting here fighting in French
Sheesh.
at the club. I'm sitting here arguing with waiters. Like, why are you not serving us? It
Fighting
was
in French is such an incredible caption.
honestly that I had just graduated from college and my minor was French, so my French was fresh. Now it's
Okay.
been a little bit of time, you know. But yeah, I was arguing. I even went on a date with my homegirl to translate because her and the man ain't speak the same language. So I went
I'm
on the date with them,
crying.
translated. It was so crazy. But I got a free meal. I remember I got a
Period. Okay, well, that's beautiful.
yeah,
But
I
I'm
got a
like,
seafood.
Google Translate is right there.
Yeah, but I think
Down
this was like
download
a
the
minute
app.
ago. You know what I mean? So it's like we only and like
Okay.
this was before the whole like you know how now you just pay $10 a day for like international? They like didn't even have that
Oh,
back
yeah.
then. So we only had Wi-Fi when we were like in it, like our
Mm,
condo or like in, you know, certain things when we were like at work during the day. So we didn't
I
have that.
see.
All
Right.
we had was my brain. So I went to the
Oh
Cannes
my
Film
goodness.
Festival and was just like, this is so uppity. This is so bougie. The films are overrated. You know, they're such through the white European lens. I mean, at the time, I think Will Smith was on the jury that year, and I believe he was the first black person to be on the jury for the Cannes Film Festival.
That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure that was the first. And now, since like Spike Lee was the next year, Ava DuVernay has been there. But yeah, girl. And then even this past year, this director Akinola Davies, he's a British Nigerian filmmaker. His film won a jury prize at the Cannes Film Festival, and it was the first Nigerian film. They just don't screen our
Well,
shit.
that's actually not surprising,
Yeah,
but
it's not
yeah.
surprising. They don't screen our shit. I mean, the festivals in the US, they don't screen our shit either. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that just shows the climate that was there. But I met this woman, she was working at Lionsgate at the time, and what she was a buyer.
Mhm.
So she buys and distributes films that are already made. So, after you make a film, it's like, all right, where am I going to distribute it? So for me,
Right.
which we'll get to, I distributed my film through the festival circuit. There's some people who are like, no, I want my film to be on TV. I want it to be on a theater. So it's like you would then partner with Lionsgate and they would distribute it. So you go to the movies and you see the big banners, and
Mhm.
you're like, what did they do? And it's like, yeah, they were producers,
Yeah.
but like they did the distribution. Like A24 does a lot of distribution for films. A lot of film now,
Mhm.
A24 is doing like originals, but a lot of them, they really just distribute them into like theaters and stuff like that. So I met this woman
Mhm.
there and I was like, the craziest thing happened at this restaurant. And she was like, oh my God, a French waiter with an attitude. Shocker. Cause I thought I was the problem. I was like, why am I like beefing with all these people? Like, I don't do this
Right,
in my regular.
yeah.
She was like, no, they just like that. And I was like, bet. But I remember I was telling her, I was like, I'm not really happy here. And she was like, I feel you. Like, I get it. And I was
Yeah.
like, she was like, keep in contact with me. If you ever find yourself in LA, let me know. I ended up in LA. That same friend, Lisa, she was speaking at, it was like this year, the first year of the Teen Vogue conference, which is now like a
Oh,
really big
wow.
thing. But it was the first year and my
Yeah.
best friend was asked to speak. So her mom couldn't take off work. So I went with her because I would just gotten fired from my job. So I was like, well, I could go with you. I don't have anywhere to
Right.
be. So I went with
Period.
her and I was like, well, let me reach out to that woman, Victoria. And I remember we met at a sushi restaurant in Santa Monica. And at that point, I'd been fired at that point. And I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. But I was like, I think I want to produce. And she said, well, a lot of writers produce. Most writers produce. Are you a good writer? And I was like, well, I actually was always a really bad student. Like I was not good in school. I even told my sister, I was like, I have my old report cards. I was thinking about going on Instagram and show my report cards. And she was like, don't do that. Don't do
I
that.
think that'll be a cool story, or unless you have a Substack or something like that.
I don't have a Substack, but my grades were just so bad. And like people are shocked when
Yeah.
they find out the grades that I had. And they're like, yeah, y'all, me and them tests were just not going together. We were like oil and water. But I was like, yeah, I never did
Right.
well in school, but I was always good at English and history. But when you're in, people don't care about English and history. They're like, oh, those are easy. And like, they don't see that as like a skill. Meanwhile, like,
I
we
don't
are
know.
really
I feel like English teachers are always the teachers that people are like, "Man, that was my favorite
the
teacher.
ones
They
they
taught
never
me so
forget.
much."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like where we are in society of our loss of arts and humanities is why we have people like Elon Musk's, you know, who
Well,
have no empathy. Even like the whole like crisis with men not reading fiction books. They're only reading self-help books and da da da, but like they're not reading fiction books where they're putting themselves into the experience of a narrator or a
right.
character and being able
Yes.
to feel that, like reading of Mice and Men
Mhm.
and the ending of that book is like I read that book over 15
Mm,
years ago. I still remember it. Reading To Kill a Mockingbird, reading Gatsby, and being like, this man so desperately wanted to belong. And how did that, So that actually was
yeah.
a, but no, when I was a kid, no one cared. Like I wasn't seen as
Yeah.
smart because it was like, yeah, English and history, you should do well at that. So I told her that. I was like, I'm only good at English and history. And she was good. Take a writing class. And I
Okay.
said, okay. So it was literally just based off her blind advice. I was like, all right, went online, looked up classes, and I saw like they were so expensive. I was like, "Oh, I can't afford this." And then I found a place, and it was one of the little sponsored ads. I saw like the New School had classes, NYU had classes. Then I saw one of the sponsored ad, clicked on it. It was Gotham Writers Workshop, and they had
Mm,
10-week classes, and they were for like $400. I said, "Bet." Signed up. That was the first TV writing class I ever took. And I wrote like a spec episode of Insecure, which was on the air at the time. The third season was about to
yeah.
start at the time. I feel like I'm aging myself, you know? Now that show been
I
off the
mean
air for years.
I feel like we're probably the same age. It's
I
okay.
know. You're like, "I get it. I'm right here with you."
All right. All right.
I remember I would leave class, it was in Times Square, and I would see the billboards for season 3, and it was of Issa and Molly, the one where Molly's like it was that season.
Mm.
Leave, and I would look at that billboard, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, I want that to be me one day." And I was writing
Oh,
my little Insecure
yes.
episode, but I remember, it was a comedy TV writing class, and I remember the moment I knew I was onto something was when Insecure was a punchy show. There was jokes on every page, multiple jokes on every page. Every single time on cue when I meant for people to laugh, all of my classmates laughed.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it was a class of like 13 people, very diverse in terms of demographic, age, race,
Mm.
ethnicity, orientation, sexual orientation, and all of them laughed on cue every single time. And it's like, it's one thing to be funny and make another person laugh. Like we can be chit chatting Chrissy, and I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm making you laugh.
Yeah.
Write it down, then for someone to read it. And then I was like,
It's
okay,
such a different skill. Yeah.
such a different skill. It's a formula, and I
That
caught it
has to
on.
feel so rewarding.
I
Yeah.
remember being like, "All right, DeeDee," it felt like the first time I was finally good at something.
Oh,
Like the first
yes.
time
Oh,
where I was like,
come
"Okay,
on.
I think you found the thing, you just need to keep doing it." And that
Yeah.
was June of 2018. Took another class in the fall of 2019, and after that, I was like, "Need to scale." Like, okay, you're writing by your lonesome in your room and okay, cool, but like what's the next step? And I didn't
Yeah.
know that TV was in LA. I did not know that. I thought you could do anything from New York. And like you kind of can, except TV writing. And I
Okay.
didn't know that at the time. But my sister, who I said fashion publicist, ran into Shiona Turini, who's a stylist. She did the styling for Formation, Beyonce's music
Okay.
video that Melina Matsoukas directed. She did Cranes in the Sky, the costumes on that. Then she actually did the last
Mhm.
3 seasons of Insecure. She did costumes for Queen and Slim. And then she has been doing Beyonce's tours and like personal styling for the past few years. So for Renaissance, for Cowboy Carter. So Shiona's, a big deal in fashion. My sister ran into her at a sample sale. Next time Melina's in town, we have to get together. My sister goes, speaking of Melina, my sister's actually been trying to get in touch with her. I found out that Melina was shooting a pilot for this FX show in New York. And Melina's never in New York. She lives in LA. And I was like, I need to meet her. So her old assistant at the time went to Howard. She went to Howard and she went to Howard Law. So I remember when I went
Mm.
into Howard, I saw posters of her when she was running for some position. I remember like, seeing Lillian's posters like around campus, so I knew of her. But Melina used to
Yeah.
shop at the brand that I worked at. So I had her point of contact, who was her assistant, and I had Melina's email, but I was like, let me just reach out to her assistant because I also want to get to know her assistant. She's a
Yeah.
Howard. So I've been reaching out to her, trying to meet up with her. Like, hey, can I shadow her while she's on set in New York? And it was a really busy time, so it didn't end up working out. So my sister was like,
Mhm.
funny you bring up Melina. My sister's been trying to reach out to her. She's like, really? She's like, all right, well, have her send me her resume. A few months later, she's like, hey, Melina's looking for an assistant. Sends the resume, don't hear nothing back. Like a year later, hey, she's looking for an assistant again. Send it. But at this point, I've been working on more things. So
Right.
like
Yeah.
my resume is getting bigger and bigger. It's expanding. Now it doesn't have fashion stuff on anymore. I've been working as a PA on sets for NBC shows and all this kind of stuff. And then
Right.
reached out again and was like, no, for real. She really needs an assistant. She was about to go on the press tour for Queen and Slim. Donna at the time had her assistant interview me. And that person who interviewed me, Melanie, is actually one of my very good friends till this day. People are like, how'd you guys meet? And I'm like, she interviewed me for a job.
Which
And
you never hear.
it's like whenever it's been years at this point, and anytime someone asks how we meet, we always just laugh because it's like the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
so crazy in the interview. She was like, "What's your sign?" I was like, "Bitch, what? What are we talking
That's how you
about
know
right
it's a good interview.
now?" She was just like,
You got the
"Wait,
job, babe.
what's your sign?" And she's such a woo woo astrology girl, like Leo men, Capricorn, and I'm just like,
I'm crying.
like Melanie, shut up. So Melanie, fast forward, was a producer on my film.
Hey, shout out to Melanie. Come
Shout out to
on.
Melanie. So Melanie interviewed me on the roof of Shona's building in downtown Brooklyn. And then she told me it was the first time someone interviewed me and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna give them my recommendation for you." I was like, "Bet."
Amazing.
So obviously didn't end up getting the job. And they ended up choosing a girl that I actually went to Howard with. It was a 0 degree of separation. She was already based
Wow.
in LA. Yeah, they were basically choosing between two people. It was a very busy time for her. And they were like, she'd been cycling through a lot of assistants. She just needed someone who was already there. I was like, I will move tomorrow. I will be there.
Right. Like it's
You know,
nothing. What's up?
it is nothing. And I also knew because at the time, Insecure was about to go into its last season. I think
Mm-hmm.
like season 4 was like about to end or something like that. So I knew like this is the opportunity that, you know, get me
Yeah.
into that ecosystem because the people who were working on like the Atlantas, the Insecures, like those people were working.
Yeah.
Like, and like those people are still working, like a
Still,
former Atlanta
absolutely.
writer who then rose up to like producer, he now works on Abbott. You know what I mean? Like those people really got into the machine of this business and like took things off from there. So I knew like I could start as this and then go to that and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't get the job. And I was like punching air. But that was the
No, for
moment
real.
when I was like, you need to move to LA. Not saying that she wouldn't
Okay.
have gotten the job. You know what I mean? She's awesome. She's very bright, very talented. She's still doing really great things. She's like she's a development executive for Janelle Monáe's production company, Wonderland. So she's gone on to do
Mm.
great things. But it was the fact that my
Yeah.
location played a factor. And I said, that will
Yeah.
never be a problem again.
Love
So
it. You
after that,
realized what was the thing that kind of kept you stuck in the moment and just went after it.
and I was like, bet, I'm moving to LA. I
Okay.
was like, all right, I'm gonna save up all my money. I'm gonna da da da. I'm gonna go. Boom. March 2020, COVID hit. They said, sit your ass down. I said,
Baby, I moved here right before. I moved here at the end of 2019. I have a couple cute months and it was like, yeah, no more. Thank you. I said, oh,
girl, when I hear of the piece, so the thing is, it's so interesting. This is why everything happens for a reason. And that's why sometimes, even though I'm
hmm
frustrated about what it's like, I just have to like, let it be. Because had I gotten that job, I would have lost my job. She would have had to let me go just because it's like, I'm not
yeah,
working. I can't, what do I got an assistant for? You know,
yeah, literally,
I would have moved my entire life to LA and I would have just been sitting there twiddling my fucking thumbs all by
literally. Like
myself
what?
in my apartment.
Oh,
It would have been terrible.
okay. So
Terrible.
you didn't move.
So I
You're
didn't
still in
move.
New York.
And then I used I put like in a high interest savings account. That's when I was like, ooh, high interest savings account. Okay. I put 80% of my checks, my unemployment checks, and we had the stimulus checks. I put 80% into a
Oh,
high interest savings
nice.
account. And I was living off of
Yeah,
20%. And I saved all of my money. And I saved like almost like $13,000. I was not playing
nice.
around. I got put a
Yeah,
down payment on a new car. I was like, I moved, I had furniture on the way, all this stuff. And then I was like, I think you
hell
need to go
yeah.
back to school. Cause I was like, whatever is going on in this industry will have figured itself out by the time you finish. So I think you should
There we
look into
go.
grad schools. And I applied to 2 grad schools, USC, LMU. I got into LMU with a scholarship. In August 2021, I moved. I did a cross country trip with some girlfriends. And then I got here on August 1st, started class on August 30th, and I graduated last year, May.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
My goodness, what a story.
short story long, you know? I'm at all the
Yeah.
spices, the accoutrements, the
But I mean, still, like, whoa. You don't get to the reward without the story, though, so it makes a lot of sense that there was a lot of ups and downs through that whole journey of a few years of you trying to figure out what it is that you're good at. I truly felt that moment you were like, "Oh, I figured it out." I was like it was almost like I could see you. You described it so well. I was like, "Oh my god." It's like that light bulb moment.
it was
So,
Oprah calls them
in this
aha moments.
right, true. Shout out, Oprah.
Shout out to
So, in this time, you're writing The Last Hurrah.
No, no.
No. So when did you start writing The Last Hoorah G Babies? Or at G Babies?
That was actually my thesis film for my grad program.
Okay,
So
okay.
I didn't start writing that until my last year of grad school.
Whoa, that's crazy. I would have thought you would have taken so much longer on this because it is so well done
Oh,
and it's
thank you.
beautiful.
Thank
Oh my
you.
goodness. I was laughing. I was concerned. I love the color grading. Everybody looks so beautiful.
Thank you.
The party scene is very special to me
Hmm.
because it just feels like an accurate representation of what a party like that would look like to me.
Mm.
I feel like sometimes after films are sold, those are the type of scenes that get altered a lot in terms of demographics specifically. It's like,
Okay.
well, we need a lot more of other kinds of people, like da 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 da. Da."
Mhm.
And it was that scene that I was like, yeah, she made her film. This
Yeah.
is her film, you know?
Mhm.
So let's get into the last Hoorah G Babies in. For a little bit of backstory, I'll just read your log line. It says, a dark comedy about a young woman who loses everything she inherited on the way to finding herself.
Yeah.
Is this story based on your own story, someone in your family? Can you give us a little background on that?
Think everything I write has to comes from me in some way, shape, or form. Like I always say, like
Mhm.
I will never do like a Marvel, you know? I'm not
I feel
necessarily
that.
that's just not me. In
Mhm.
film school, my classmates would always laugh at me because I still don't know the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek. I still don't know the difference between DC Comics and whatever the other one is. Or Marvel, right? But that's what it's
Yeah, yeah,
Marvel.
yeah. It's Marvel.
I still don't know. I always say I'm like, if y'all see me on one of them things, just know I'm down bad. It's all I can find. It's all I can find. And I'm bullshitting my way through. But I really just love like hyper realism, and I love like the world in
Mm.
which we exist in, and I love just like it's what I miss about New York is just being able to like look outside my sister's window in Lower East Side, and like one time we were taking a nap on her bed, and we like smelled smoke. Then all of a sudden I saw a flame, and like even with my eyes closed, it woke me up. And we were like, what the
Well,
fuck is that? And we look out the window and there was a party happening under her apartment and they were grilling, but it was so close to
mhm.
the window. It was the and I'm like, but that's New York. And then we went down and we're like, hello, it was so close to the window. And they're like, oh, our bad. Y'all want a burger? We were like, yeah.
I was just about to say, so you want some food? Like
Absolutely. That's exactly what we want. And they gave us cheeseburgers and beers. And we're like, thank you. You know what I mean?
I love
And I'm like,
that.
I just
Yeah.
miss random shit like that. It was like some like skater brand having a pop up. It was like some, you
Mm,
know, but I miss just like being like sit on a park bench and like watch life go by, you know? And I'm always
mm,
was that person who was like, who is that person? Where are they going to? What do they go home to? Look at all the people at the bus stop, you know?
yeah.
And that's how I want my work to like live in. I want people to be able to insert themselves or insert someone they know or feel like they could be in this world and exist. It feels that real,
Mhm,
you know? So I would say everything has me in it in some way. But when my grew up, youngest of seven, my mom passed when I was young, so I was raised by my dad. But I was very close with my
mhm,
mom's family, with my mom's younger sister and my grandma, maternal. And my grandma had a multifamily property in Brooklyn in Flatbush, and everybody lived in that house because my grandma was like one of the first ones to make it to the US. Like she was in the US by the 60s. Other people didn't come, like my dad didn't come until like the 80s, late 70s and stuff like that. Yeah, my dad didn't come till like the early 80s. So my grandma was
Mm,
in the US when MLK was assassinated because she didn't know who he was and why everyone was freaking out. And she was like,
mm,
what's going on? So she was there that early.
yeah.
So she was like the first stop that people went to when they got here. Like they would stay in her basement. So I just grew up, collecting rent checks from people, seeing her, figure out issues, all that kind of stuff. And I lived with her before she passed away.
Mm,
And it was just like a really crazy experience watching my grandma deteriorate. It was
yeah.
like really mind boggling. But at the same time, that summer was one of the best summers of my life. It was summer 16. It
Oh,
was summer 16.
it's so 2016 is such an iconic year. Everybody is like, shit was lit. And don't it always
Honestly,
happen like that? Where it's like this immense amount of joy and this immense amount of grief at the same time.
it was crazy. Like I would come home at all hours of the night and it was so creaky and that damn door was so goddamn heavy. And then I would like have to help my grandma. Like I see her like struggling to get up. And I would like have to help her like get to the
Mm.
bathroom. You know what I mean? And like me like
Were you her
stumbling in.
caretaker?
Yeah.
Mm,
So yeah, it was a really crazy experience, but she passed away a few months after.
mm.
And eventually her building was sold. And I did not want that to happen. Me and my sisters, ugh, we did not want that to happen. Um,
Yeah,
but we lost that fight. We were minority stakeholders. So we didn't, and we also just didn't have enough capital to buy
yeah.
out people's shares. And then when we tried to buy out a share, we were told they wanted it in cash. And we are like, we can't give you a payment plan. They're like, no, we want it in cash. We were like, okay,
Jesus.
got it. Um, but I remember the last time I went to her building before we sold it, we just did like a walkthrough. And I remember thinking like, I'm gonna graduate from Howard. I'm gonna live in her unit. My grandma's apartment was so cute. Real wood floors, archway, molding, like all the things.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I'm gonna have little barbecues with my friends and da 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 da. And then I'm walking around the apartment, and then there was a really long tandem driveway. And I go to the back, and there was no grass. It had been paved over. And I said to my
Mm-mm.
aunt, I was like, when did that happen? And she was like, years ago, it happened when my grandpa died because my grandma couldn't take care of it anymore. And that's what my grandpa did. So
Oh,
she paved over it years ago. And that moment was so jarring for me because I felt literally and figuratively like my dream had been paved over.
yeah. Like immediately altered, right? Like before your eyes kind of thing.
But it was also the fact that it had been paved over for years. And I didn't even, like, I
Mm.
literally created a fantasy. It was
Yeah.
not rooted in reality. And I was like,
Oh, man.
oh, okay. But then on the other hand, when my grandma died, I inherited money. It wasn't anything
Mhm.
life changing, but I also wasn't working at the time. So I actually had to live off of it, you know? And I could not find it was hard for me to find work. And then when I would find work, it would be like a temp job for. And it took me a minute
Yeah.
to understand like the freelance lifestyle of like, no, while you're in that job, you need to be finding the net. Like I didn't understand, so the job would end and I'm like, it would just take me a second to be like, oh, but then at that point, 2 months pass. And then you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember at the time feeling really, really guilty for spending the money. I remember feeling really, really guilty and really bad. And I remember feeling a lot of shame. And in part, I was also irresponsible in ways. I mean, I was 24, you know what I mean? I'm in the streets, you know what I mean? With my friends doing hood rat things. The first thing I bought
Yeah.
with that money was a pair of silver Prada boots from Barney's.
I'm crying.
I still have them to this day. And they're
Ah!
very uncomfortable, but I keep them because of what it represents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But
I
that's the
mean, you
first.
get a lump sum of money, even if it isn't life changing at 24. Like, yeah, you might make some decisions like that. And I completely understand, like, the journey is gonna be like, damn, I feel irresponsible. I feel a little shame, embarrassed because it might feel like a waste in the moment. But I'm glad you got to the other side, which I feel like likely helped you write this, right?
Yeah. So then
You
I'm in
know?
film school, and I knew I had to write a film for my thesis, like, in order to graduate. And I had 3 ideas, and this was the one that my classmates were like, "No, this one feels the most like you." And all I knew with the
Mm,
film is that I wanted to create something about this person who lost their inheritance or blew through their inheritance. So the log line for the film is an art school grad who has been the caretaker to her grandmother. And now that her grandmother's passed away, she inherited a lump sum of money in her rent controlled apartment in New York City. But she's blown through her
mm,
cash inheritance and is behind on rent. So she has until the end of the week to come up with 5 months worth of back rent or she'll be evicted. So granted, my grandma owned her building, but I was like, it should be like let me pivot it so that way it can be like a bit more urgency. 'Cause if it's a mortgage, you haven't been paying
mhm.
the mortgage, then you got people, it's a bit different. That's where the narrative comes from, you know?
Yeah,
Of like, okay, yes, that was my life, but now how do I make this an interesting narrative? You know?
yeah.
The narrative aspect is like, no, you need a landlord creating urgency to give him that's the
Mhm.
inciting incident. That's what makes this day different from yesterday and different from the next. Now she's handed an eviction notice. Now she has until the end of the week. And it's like, okay, now it's like a countdown and like you know?
Ye we
Um,
gotta move.
exactly. And that's where it's like it's no longer about me. It's about these characters in this world that I have created. But I just remember feeling like the way in which Black women are depicted on TV and media is
Mhm.
just so basica. There's always a lawyer. It's always the lawyer who
Yeah,
struggles in relationships with men, you know? I got money, I have the car,
always.
I have the house, why don't I have a man? As if, like,
I
those
have
things are
everything but love.
everything but love, and it's like, you're not entitled to that, right? And, like, just because you have these
Mm,
things doesn't mean that, like, you should have this thing too. It was Molly's whole thing with Issa, like, Issa doesn't have her life together, she works some basic ass, you know nonprofit, but she has Lawrence.
and I was not Team Lawrence, so
Girl, that's a
that's a
I
whole 'nother tangent.
will write a goddamn dissertation on why Lawrence was a loser and Issa settled with him, and the only reason why throughout the entire series, it was her guilt that was driving her, not her heart. That
But that also explains the depiction that you're talking about, where Molly is supposed to be the person we are aspiring to. You have this incredible job, you're well paid, you live the life you want to live, but not too much, Black girl. Like, not too much. You can't have everything. And that's unfair. That's not a real depiction either. Like, there are plenty of women who are living their best life and also in love, or who are not seeking partnership.
exactly, who just
Can you
don't give a
imagine
fuck.
that? Yeah. Can you imagine
They're
that
not
are okay being single? Like, what?
crazy, right? So I just remember, like, I was writing and I was just like, I will never write a Black lawyer ever. I'll
I feel
never
you.
write a Black woman lawyer. We have them. They have their own sorority, basically. Maxine Shaw, attorney at law, Olivia Pope,
Yeah.
Joan Clayton, Molly Carter. Now they got that new show,
Mhm.
Reasonable Doubt. You got Jax. And I'm like, y'all doing it. And you guys are doing it so well. I want to write about fuck ups. I want to write about fuck ups. I want to write about people who stumble. I want to write about people who have done the things they're supposed to do, like go to college and then they leave and it's like, what now? You know?
Yeah.
People who are unemployed. You ain't never see a Black woman on TV with no job. She
And a
always got a
degree.
job. She always got a
Yep.
job. Even when Precious had jobs. You know what I mean? Precious, like, in school, like, they're always, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not really interested in that. I also think that
Yeah.
Black women always having to achieve this whole Black girl magic of it all. And it's like, I'm not a magician. Don't ask me to do a magic trick.
Yeah.
You will be disappointed, you know?
I understand.
And that's where kind of I went beyond myself into this world that I felt like I wasn't really seeing. And also as Black woman who was like very deeply, like you said, you're like, I was concerned. And that's like, yeah, you should be concerned, while
Yeah.
watching. You should be concerned. Like, hold up, how the fuck we get here? And how's she gonna get out of it? But it's so many people's reality. I literally have a friend who just
Yeah.
got evicted from her apartment a few months ago after the fires because she was out of work. She couldn't make money.
Mm,
I know other
Jesus.
people who in COVID work in the music industry, work in management, people aren't touring, got evicted. You know what I
Had to
mean?
move back home. Yeah,
How many people
same.
got moved back? You know what I mean? It's like this is actually something that's like so universal. Even it's like if you really want to the underbelly of like housing, you know, the
Yeah.
fact that she can't just go live somewhere else because, girl, 2K for a studio,
Where? Yeah. Where you gonna live?
and then you need first and deposit. So I just need 4K cash. What the fuck? That is crazy,
Yeah.
And the project just
I
took
like how
shape.
this story I like how this story, like you mentioned, is very rooted in reality. You said there'll always be some part of you in everything that you write. It's very rooted in reality. But it's still so imaginative outside of
Mm,
your own story, but still relatable to plenty of people's stories. And I also first want to say condolences to losing both your mom, your
oh,
grandma,
thank
and your
you.
granddad, and putting
God,
that all into this work. Like, whoa, that I can imagine how much work that took. So I'm really grateful that you were able to come up with some incredible art from all of that.
thank
Um,
you.
yes, absolutely. And in this era that you're in right now with the story, you've been shopping it around to film festivals,
Thank
at least since last year, and it's been winning some selections, right? Yes,
you.
congratulations.
Thank you very. Yes, it's been
Absolutely.
it's been a very cool experience being able to go to film festivals. And I was just talking to someone that I met at a festival, and we've now befriended each other.
Mm,
Um, and it was just realizing like not everyone gets into it. There are thousands of people that applied who did not get in. And granted, my film hasn't
yeah,
been at Sundance and Tribeca. It hasn't been at those festivals that are considered, tier one. They're different
yeah.
tiers, that tier one, two, and three. My film has been at tier two and three festivals. And I also didn't even apply to any tier ones because I also saw the ones I wasn't getting into. And I was like, okay, time to pivot.
Mm.
These people are not seeing my work.
This episode is brought to you by Art House, the first Black-owned film lab in the city of Los Angeles. Art House specializes in C41, black and white, E6, and ECN2 processing for 35mm and medium format film, using a custom-built cinema scanner to deliver stunning movie quality stills. Pick up or drop off a roll at their new location in Chinatown and check them out at arthousefilmlab.com or at arthousefilmlab on IG. And tell them we sent you.
In festivals with me that I've befriended was the fact that they're not really selecting films with Black filmmakers. And I even looked at some of those festivals and be like, oh, I wonder what films they chose.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember for one very big festival for the short film category, which I would be in competition to, 5 films by Black directors out of like 100. You
Mm,
know, it's so crazy. So how you were saying with Cannes,
that's crazy.
and you're like, that doesn't surprise me. It's like, girl, they doing that in the US too, you know? But it's been really humbling and a
Yeah.
bit more of like, I don't know if you call it a reality check, but like the festivals I've gotten into are like really great and they're like quite
Mm,
prominent, you know? It's not Sundance, it's not Tribeca, that have this like global appeal, but they're like really respected. The people that are also the programmers are very respected. Like people respect the films that they select, you know? It's like there are people who applied to this and did not get in. And it's like,
mm,
oh, wow. Like I remember reaching out to someone and they were like, "Oh, I didn't get into it." Or they were like, "Oh, I got into the online, but like mine's not gonna screen in the theater." And I'm like, "Oh shit." But they're like a director, they've been directing for years and this was only my first film. You know what I mean? So it's been really a
yeah.
blessing. I mean, there's someone I went to this film festival in Miami called ABFF, and that was the award that Ryan Coogler won, the HBO short film award. That's what he won with his USC thesis film. And that was like the award that like jump started things for him. And then he went on to make Fruitvale Station like 2 years later, you know? And it's like, wow. Like, and Ryan Coogler, look where
Mm,
he's now,
okay.
literally making history as a filmmaker. And hopefully we'll get not only a
Right.
best picture, but a best director nomination for the Oscars this year, you know? The festival circuit has been really cool, really rewarding. I've seen amazing films, Chrissy. There's this festival I went to in Philadelphia called Black Star, and I literally
Mm.
found myself tearing up multiple times just because I was like, wow, these films are so good. Like, I'm so glad to be in the same conversation as these people. You know Black Star?
Can I just shout out Black Star real quick because I know Black Star, but I also saw your
Oh
interview
my
at Black Star written
God.
by Steven Sato. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. It was the most beautiful write-up, and it felt like I was watching the movie. That Black Star interview was so vivid and so beautiful. So first, shout out to the writer. He did incredibly. But there were two things that I saw in that write-up that stood out to me about what you said.
Mm,
So you mentioned that about the story, that this character has been given opportunities but doesn't know what to do with it because she doesn't even know what to do with herself. I
mm,
love the frame of that because also, whether we're talking about the character or your real experience in this, just thinking about being a young person and being given an opportunity when you literally don't know yourself. Like, you don't know what it is that you want. You don't know what the wrong decision is, what the right decision is. I felt that it was a very relatable experience. And if we can remove ourselves from the film a little bit, I would love to know where you are right now as a director and writer. What is something that you're currently struggling with?
mm. You know when you say something, you're like, wait, I said that? Oh my God. Kind of
Yeah,
there.
really hard. Really hard.
Yeah, I do think there is something that I was noticing in my portfolio and that I want to continue to build upon was the idea of like coming of age
Mm,
and the idea that like you're always coming of age. I don't believe it has like an expiration date.
agree.
Michelle Obama, obviously, she has her best selling book, Becoming. And what I loved in it was how she said she hates when people ask little kids what they want to be when they grow up. Because she
Mm,
goes, if you asked me, I would have never said first lady. Even when her husband was running for office, she was like, I ain't trying to be first lady. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
he not gonna win, and I don't even want to do that job if he does win, you know?
Right.
And how
I did not see this.
into exactly she was thrust into this thing. But you see how she's now written 2 books, and now she's doing tours and speaking again. Now she has a podcast, and these are all these things that even probably 10 years ago when she was in the White House, if you told her you're gonna have a podcast, she was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not doing that."
Mhm.
But it's the idea that we're always evolving and we're ever changing. We are always becoming. Her title of the book wasn't,
Mhm.
you know, it wasn't because it was becoming, it was an action, it was active.
Yeah.
And I believe that is where I am right now. I am becoming. When people talk about, the healing journey, you know, and it's like, no, I'm always healing. I'm always taking life in stride, Um,
Mhm.
I will say one thing that I realized that I still struggle with is validation. It
Like
wasn't until
seeking it?
I think seeking it, I think it's more so it's like the approval. And I think it maybe comes from like maybe some people, you know, potentially putting me down
Mhm.
and me trying to prove myself, you know? And it was a guy I was dating, and I was like, on the phone. And he was like, why are you saying this to me? Like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm talking to you. And he was like, no, no, no. Like, why are you saying this to me? I know what you did.
Mhm.
Who are you trying to
That
prove this to?
external stuff. Yeah.
What are you saying this to? You ain't got to say this to me. I know what you did. I saw you doing XYZ. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I think the first time you do anything, it does come with insecurity. And I'm not above it by any means, you know?
Yeah.
I just didn't realize to the extent that it was, where it's like, I ultimately have good instincts, you know? I ultimately have a strong voice. I have a strong point of view, and not everyone is going to like that. Not like my
Yeah.
disposition, but like sometimes people are going to disagree on decisions that you make.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are going to challenge, something artistic that you do. I know a point of contention in my film was the music. It was a back and forth.
I can imagine that. Yeah. You got some
It's like,
particular songs. I was very pleased to hear the first song. I was like, "Oh, okay, true."
but it's like some people are like it's too contemporary. It's too on the nose.
Mhm.
This film should be able to exist in a different universe. And I'm like, that's you. That's you as a filmmaker. That's not me. I want to exist in the zeitgeist of today, of the now, you know?
Pulling back to earlier in our conversation where we were talking about agency, I feel I mean, not to be dramatic, I feel so blessed to witness this version of you right here to be like, "Nah, I found her. I found that agency inside of me, and I'm standing 10 toes on what I think is the right choice for this
Yes,
moment in the film." And I mean, throughout the process, I'm sure.
yes. Sometimes you got to go out on a limb, you know? But also knowing I have a mentee. I on weekends volunteer with like first generation like college students,
Nice.
helping them with their college essays. And it's been a really
Mhm.
amazing experience. The organization's called Minds Matter. If anyone is curious, they have 3-year mentors from sophomore to senior year. And then they also have writing coaches to help them when the college process comes. And she showed her college counselor or her high school counselor her essay. Meanwhile, she's about to
Mhm.
submit it for a scholarship program in a few days. So I'm like, where were you weeks ago? Where were you months ago? She's been working on this since last year, March.
Right.
And he told her that it wasn't creative enough. He told her like, all
Mhm.
these different things. He said it wasn't unique. Meanwhile, her essay is about going to a concert for the first time and losing her hearing temporarily because it was so loud.
Whoa.
And it was the fact that it was so meta because she then compares it to living in South Central and about how she'd never been to that part of LA anymore. She'd never been to that part
Mm.
of LA before. And it was her first time seeing, it was at the Orpheum. She'd never been to that part of LA. She realized how big LA actually was. And going to that concert and losing her hearing made her realize how small she'd been playing life.
Mm. That don't sound non-artistic to me.
And this man gonna sit here and tell her it's not creative enough. It's too I will really was like, don't let me have no kids. I'll be on that phone.
Okay.
Eat.
'Cause how dare you?
How fucking dare you? But also, why are you gonna get in her head a few days before she go? She was literally called me at like 9 p.m. frantic, wanted to
Mm.
scrap the whole thing. And I said to her, do you like this essay? Because she had also given me a few options. And I was like, nah, this is the essay. Because also you have to realize in college admissions, they can't put race. You can't do race-based admissions anymore. And she
Yeah.
is a low-income girl living in Section 8 in South Central LA. I've dropped her home before. I see where she lives at.
Mhm.
Her race and her income does play a role, and it should play a role in her admissions because she's not the same as the kid who goes to private school and goes to Windward or goes to Harvard Westlake. They are not the same. They don't have the same exposure. You know what I mean? So I also was like, this is a cool way for you to put in who you are and where you come from and what your surrounding is like. In the essay she's talking about, I have streetlights that have been gunned out and they ain't replaced
Mhm.
them. Like it literally
Right.
reminded me of like, I was like, I remember in Snowfall, in the first season of Snowfall, Leon would he would pop out you know what I mean? The lights. And she's like, yeah, I got
Because
gang.
literally.
People don't
Yeah.
got jobs. And they do their paycheck to paycheck. And I go on the bus
Yeah.
every day to school and I come back and I do the same thing every day. And then I finally did something different and my entire life was burst open and then I couldn't hear. And then it's like she was
Ooh.
just taking it all in. And at the end, her essay is like, it was the fact that if I never heard again, it would have been worth it. It would have been for
Whoa. That's a whole short film. Like, her essay is a short film. Like, it's incredible. That's
like
crazy.
next fucking level. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I think this shit next level. You think this shit next level. Cupid,
Fuck them.
you think this is, what do you think about this? Because I was like, you might be like, DeeDee, I think this is whack. And I'll be like, bet, let's scrap it. We will stay up all night and we'll write something different. But she was like, no, I like,
Mhm.
and she was, I like what it says about me. And I also was challenging her to talk about her experience and talk about, so what does your neighborhood look like? What does your home look like? What are the people, what are your neighbors like? You know, like really getting into it. And then she was even really coming out of the, I'm reading it and that's what she's like, I live in Section 8. We don't got streetlights. We don't, da da da. You know what I mean? Those things came out of her. And I'm just reading her version and I'm like, this is good stuff. It feels so real. It felt like Good Kid, Mad City. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It really did. Not trying to be like sound like a white person, but I'm like, no, like the imagery of it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the same advice I'm telling her, I'm like, girl, don't take your own damn advice. Because I'm telling her, do you like your essay? She's like, yes. And I'm like, are you proud of it? Yes. I was like, do you want a stranger at so and so college to look at this and say, this is who you are? And do you think this gives an accurate depiction of who you are? She said, yes. And then she started saying all the different things. And she's like, yeah, like I this and I that. And I think it's really cool, this and that. And I said, at the end of the day, there are some people who are going to look at this and think it's whack, and that is fine. And those are not the people you want to be in community with. But there's going to be a college where someone sees that essay and they're going to be like, hold on now.
We need her here.
You need her here. Because also, I would want you at my college. The
Yeah.
things that you could
This
bring to your,
program sounds incredible.
it's so cool. It's so cool. It's so rewarding for me. Like, I'm literally like, I feel like I gain more than they, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
really great. And it's a really great way to flex like your writing skills, you know? And like,
Mm.
my thing is like, you're not just going to write an essay if you're my mentee. Like, you're going to write a narrative story. That's what I'm
Love
bringing
it.
to this, you
Yeah,
know?
love that.
Um, but I was realizing with her that I was like, DeeDee, like, what she was seeking is the same thing that I saw.
Yeah.
You know, someone would be like, this essay is great. You know, this is so this. And it was like the moment someone didn't see what she saw, it was like, fuck.
Rattled.
Yes.
No longer grounded, no longer centered.
Yeah.
Of
And
course. I mean, we all know that feeling.
it's like, I'm 15 plus years older than she'd be reminding me. I'd be like, oh, you know, sometimes she was, wow, I was 3 when that happened. Not too much. Not too
Okay,
much.
I'd be like,
She
I
will
think I'm here for that.
never lose an opportunity to not remind me of how,
I'm
oh, I wasn't
crying.
even born yet. Thank you, honey. Thank you
That's
very
cute for
much.
you.
But it's the fact that, like, I'm however many years older than her, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I still actively have to, like, reprogram and be like, "You know what? This is a decision that I made, and if people don't like it, that is okay because that was my artistic decision."
Yeah.
You said the party scene, like, "Oh, this is her film." I was also given the note that I should have more white people in my film. And I said, "But that's not the world."
It's literally just not the world, babes. Why would they be here? Why would they be here?
That's like going in a Black Image
You
Center and be like, "Why aren't there any white people?" It's like, that's not what this is.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Wow.
it's been a long journey. I'm very outspoken and I'm, you know, all of that. So when people hear, they'd be like, "Really? Her?" And it's like, yeah, being outspoken and being personable and all that stuff, like, yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But like when you feel like your decisions are being questioned, or when you're questioning, like, am I doing the right thing? You know,
Mhm.
there's tension there, you know, and I'm not above that tension. I be thinking
Of
like, did I do the right
course.
thing? Did I make the right decision? You know, and even sometimes being like, sit with this yourself. Like, I'm in this new thing right now where I'm like, I no longer want to pick up the phone and phone a friend. What do you think?
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. It's like, no, make the executive decision yourself.
There you go.
Why don't you
Oh,
call
girl.
Christy, Coda, call da, 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 da. No, no, no. So this is all them now getting in your head
Yeah.
of judgment. My dad, one day I called my dad and I was like, Poppy, I just like, and I'm not one of those people who like calls their parents in a, you know, so you know I'm really going through some
Yeah.
shit. I call my dad. My dad was like, life is full of making decisions. You make decisions
Yeah.
and sometimes they're good and sometimes you're bad and you face the consequences of them. but it just, like, is what it is. Like, there's no right path, wrong path. It's just the path. And he's so
Yeah,
right. He told me
literally.
that, and then he told me to quit. See?
I'm putting him in the show notes because he dropping bars every time.
No, he does. He was like,
I
"You need to be confident with the decisions that you make."
ooh, mhm. I feel like there was something about turning at 27, 28. I turned 27 in the pandemic. And
Mm.
actually, one of my woo-woo homies was like, 27 is such a good age, bro. It's gonna be the best year of your life. And then I looked around and was like, what?
Niggas are dying. What are we talking
What are
about?
you talking about? I didn't expect this for my 27. So, whatever. I'm thinking about that era of my life,
Mhm.
27 to 30. I think I was really contending with a lot about what you're speaking about. Like, it felt like there's this old version of me that is fighting so hard to be here. She's seeking validation. She's seeking all the same relationships. And there's this new version of me that's like, I need some fucking room. Like, we can't be like this no more. We need to make different decisions. And I feel like I heard around that time a similar quote that your dad said, where it's like, life
Mm.
is just choices. In a way
Mhm.
that's kind of like, don't make a big deal out of all of them. Like, it's just choices, and you could
Yeah.
just make a new one or a different one.
Yeah.
And making a different choice has been my guiding, like, mantra since then, where it's kind of like this practice of noticing your awareness around you and being like, "Oh, this old version of me would probably do this. So this time, Imma just do that and see what this giving me, because I actually don't like this outcome anymore." And I
Mhm.
love that these things are not only coming up in your life, but are clearly being placed in the stories that you create. And originally, I wanted to ask you what else you are thriving in. Like, you told me about the struggle, so I also want to know
Mhm.
about what you're thriving in. But before we go there, you brought up the second piece of the Black Star interview that stood out to me. Something similar to it, where you said, "I genuinely felt like I truly oh, excuse me. I truly felt like my grandmother and my mom, who is also deceased, pumping through my veins, telling me to go and to do it until I defy what people were saying. Because at the end of the day, if I failed, at least I failed in my own time and on my
My
own
own
dime."
dime.
Woo! That last sentence, I was like, no, literally. Like, if I'm gonna fail, it's because I tried. That's
Yeah.
the only way to fail. And
Yeah.
also, we don't gotta look at it like a failure, but we don't even gotta go that far into it. But it's the simple fact that I am putting inertia into my desires,
Yep.
something into what I am imagining. And so if I don't get the thing that I'm imagining, hey, it was on my own dime and in my own time. I'm still the girl that did it. And that's who I wanna be at the end of the day, the girl that did it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many people who I'll meet randomly. Like, I remember when I was buying my car, the guy was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going across the movie in LA, film school." He's like, "Oh, wow, I used to write scripts." I'm like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah." And I come
Mm,
across people all the time. People where I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I went to Howard." They're like, "I always wanted to go to Howard," or or I got in, but I didn't go." And all these people who have done the things, who wanted to do the things that I do and have.
mhm,
And I pride myself in being the person who does the thing.
mhm.
I do it.
Me too, girl. I got to do it. I just have to do it.
I
I
have to
simply
do
have
it.
to. And honestly, I look at the elder women in my life
Mm,
who either weren't afforded the opportunity
yeah.
or did not take the risk,
Yes.
and w with no blame, like, they had a completely different set
Different,
of
yeah.
choices to make than I did,
Living in a
and,
different lifetime. Things have changed so
you know what
fast.
I'm saying?
Us living in an
And those
apartment by
choices
ourselves, they ain't do shit like that.
okay, literally, but in that same breath, I'm also like, I can't wake up at 50, 60 years old wishing I did it when
You wanna
I'm
know something
existing
about
right
that?
now.
You wanna know
Mm,
something about that? I don't remember when I don't remember what was the decision I was trying to make. Oh, side quest, I was a yoga instructor when I was in New
oh, that's
York.
a cute side quest, I like
When
that.
I didn't have a job, I was like, "Well, what I need to do something because all my friends was
Yeah.
at work." So I was like, what am I gonna do? I can't hang out with them until Friday at 5. So I started
Mhm.
volunteering at a yoga studio. And then I would take classes for free and it got to keep me active. And then eventually people always thought at the front desk I taught yoga. They'd be like, when's your class? And I'm like, oh, I don't teach. And then I was like, well, maybe I should. People keep speaking it over me and they thought I already did it. And, you know, so I did it, but it was expensive. And I remember thinking, I just remember having this vision in my head because yoga teacher training is a very big commitment. And I did like a real training.
Yeah.
Like I would come home from my sessions like in tears. Like it was some real emotional deep shit. Like mine wasn't no joke. It wasn't some little namaste type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, namaste.
No, for real.
It was something else, okay? But I remember I had a vision of myself sitting at a table with a bunch of girlfriends, and I couldn't even see the faces. It wasn't like, oh, that friend Lisa and da 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 da. I didn't even know the faces, but it was us sitting at a round table at one of our homes, kind of just having a wine night, and we were all talking about our lives. And I just imagined myself at that table saying, I should have just done it. I should have done it.
Ooh.
I should have done the yoga teacher training. Who cares? And
Yeah.
now, ever since then, whenever I'm making a decision, I imagine myself at that table and what I would say in 20 plus years. And if it's me being like, girl, just do it, like, then I do it.
I love this. I mean, I feel like on some woo-woo shit, that's real manifestation right there.
That
It's
is
like you're
true.
visualizing
True.
what this alternative reality would be like, and if you don't like it, you know what decision you gotta make.
I mean, when Solange says, I saw things I imagined, I saw things I imagined, I saw things I imagined, I saw things, okay?
I saw
I
things
saw things.
I imagined.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
No,
I
I heard
think
her. I heard
so.
her when she said it.
Heard her. Some
I
people
heard her.
listening. They were
They
not
wasn't
listening.
tapped in.
No, guys, hello. Y'all need to get that third eye
Okay.
open.
No, for real. Hey, we was on the same plane with it.
Yeah. But no, I felt like with my film, I ultimately directed my film. I was just the writer, the producer, and I ultimately directed my film. And it was because I had a director where now when you hear about creative differences, I'm like, I understand. I understand what
Mhm.
that means. Because everyone at the end of the day, we all have our own agenda. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know? But it was very evident that if I allowed that person to direct the film, it would have not been the product that you saw. And yes, because everyone would be
Yeah.
different, but it was the fact that there would have been major character things, things like the party scene. When I saw what their version of the party scene was, I said, what kind of party is this?
It's
You
like
know?
that's not even the story.
That's not what we're doing here, you know?
Yeah.
And then a lot of people told me I was crazy. One person verbatim said literally told me I was making a mistake.
Whoa.
Literally told me I was making a
That's
mistake.
bold.
They said I would hate for all the money that you raised to go to waste and to go into the hands of an unexperienced director. I said, "Bitch, you're fucking talking to me about me.
Whoa.
You talking about me to me." And they put that shit in
That's
writing. One day I'm gonna
crazy.
put that shit on a t-shirt. One day I'm gonna put that shit on a
Period.
t-shirt.
Period.
Okay? They
Period.
said that to me. And I said, I no longer need your services.
Yeah.
No longer need to serve. I'm at the point now where you either believe in me or you don't. And there are people who came out the woodwork and were like, girl, we got you. We
And
fucking got you. You
and
know?
therefore, why wouldn't I believe in them? They believe in me so much that they pulled up in this way. Why wouldn't I then believe in them?
And
What?
and believe in myself.
Come on. I can't believe they played in your face like that. That's crazy.
Oh, hello.
That's crazy.
Okay. Playing.
Oh my god.
Playing all types of things. Spades, Uno, you name it.
Just foolish.
Circus.
Uh-uh.
And I literally was like, I know y'all niggas think I'm crazy, and I'm actually okay with that.
Actually, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Battery in the back
You
activated. Thanks.
hello? G girl, I'm giving you the spark note, okay?
DeeDee.
Just know, just know. And that's when I was like, I feel like a crazy. It's like, I am crazy. I am.
I
I'm
take it.
that shit. And you know what?
Come
I
on.
am completely okay with being crazy in my creativity. I am completely fine
Because
with it.
I'm gonna do it.
And then
And
I
I'm gonna get it
realized,
done.
hold up, I'm paying for this.
And why would I pay you to tell me some shit like that? What?
I'm paying for this. So you can actually, but that's the thing. It goes back to the agency with my dad. Of him being like,
Mhm.
"Why don't you just quit?" Me being like, "Well, I can't quit because I need a." And he's like, "No, you don't. Just leave." And then
Yeah.
realizing, wait a minute, I'm paying for this. I raised all this money. I took out a loan to finish this film. I did all these things. It's like, wait a minute. You can, why are you looking at these people? I love my team. That's not what I'm suggesting as of like, oh, no, 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 no. But it's the fact that,
Mhm.
there's also a responsibility that comes with being the top of the call sheet. And it's one
Of
that I
course.
underestimated until I was there. And it's like, no, 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 you just need to make an executive decision. And it's either people are like, bet, let's go, or people like that person are saying, you make a mistake. That's fine. You don't need to be on this call sheet. You know,
Yeah. There
we
you
can
go.
keep pushing. And that's what, but also like my grandma was such a fighter. My grandma
Mm.
was a fighter. Like she was in the hospital on her deathbed. Like, you know what I mean? They're trying to put all this stuff on her and she was literally like, couldn't even speak, but she was like, ugh. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like my mom was a fighter. She was a hustler. People still my mom died 25 years ago. People still talk about her. You know what I mean?
Icon.
My grandma was a Haitian immigrant and took all of her saved up money and put it into a building. Her husband thought she was insane. He was like, "You're gonna put all of your money into a home?" And she was like, "No, that's how people make money in America through equity." And he's like, "Huh?" So much so that my grandma wanted to buy more buildings, but he wouldn't let her.
That's how you know you're on the right path. If other
Mhm.
people think you're crazy.
Other people
If
think you're
other people are looking like, "Oh my god, I could never make a decision like that," you probably have a great idea on your
yeah.
hands.
Make the decision. And the thing is, there are some people who make decisions, they're like, dang. I was just watching an interview with them. You remember the movie American Pie?
Yeah.
The lead in American Pie, the guy whose dad is that comedic actor. I see his face, the one who's in Schitt's Creek, Dan Levy, the son of Dan
Okay.
Levy in
Oh,
American.
yeah, yeah.
That actor, he was just talking about how there were certain career decisions he made that were like, dang, that was dumb. He turned down How I Met Your Mother. He was supposed to play the lead in that, and he turned that gig down.
Whoa.
And because at the time, TV was seen as lowbrow. If you're a film actor, then you know, then you don't want to do TV. That's not acting. That's not whatever. And he turned it down.
Yeah.
And he was like, dang, I shouldn't have done that. You know? But also, he also acknowledged like it was ego as to why I turned that job down. So as long as there is no ego in the decision, make a decision and stand 10 toes down on it.
There you go.
And
This
that's
feels like a perfect place to take a break. You just left us with a word. Come on. Okay, we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by Art House, the first Black-owned film lab in the city of Los Angeles. Art House specializes in C41, black and white, E6, and ECN2 processing for 35mm and medium format film, using a custom-built cinema scanner to deliver stunning movie quality stills. Pick up or drop off a roll at their new location in Chinatown and check them out at arthousefilmlab.com or at arthousefilmlab on IG. And tell them we sent you. And we're back. You have given us so much about this story. It's been so beautiful. And I think I have at least one more question before we move on to the next segment. It's something that comes up for me a lot, especially in my
mm,
own work. I think a lot about home and
mm,
especially my women elders, but elders in general. And you talk a lot about the concept of home
mhm.
in some of your interviews and in this film. I mean, it's literally based in this very important apartment, which also just want to acknowledge and shout out to your grandma and all the people, all of the immigrants that then become like the stepping stone to how
Yeah,
people can grow within
yeah,
this like incredibly difficult transition.
absolutely.
Moving to another country is
No
a
joke.
really difficult thing to do. So the people that become that little middle pathway for them to
Mhm.
grow, to them. I give my love to them so deeply.
No, I
So
agree. I always say I can only make
my
films
goodness.
because of my grandma. She's the only reason why I can make films for a multitude of reasons. Because while I did get the
Like you
product use, I also
yeah.
paid for them TV writing classes with that money too. So I wasn't doing all
There
both,
we go. Come
you
on.
know?
Shout out to grandma for that. She supported both.
Exactly, supported both ventures, okay? Supporting my rights and my wrongs.
Period. But so you talk about this concept of home in this Black Star interview, as if it exists, and I can't help but to go down this rabbit hole with you.
Please.
So I've watched my home, like my particular neighborhood that I'm from in Chicago,
Mm,
uh, begin to get gentrified at like kind of a young age. I think I want to say I started to see the differences when I was maybe around like 13, 14. And and that was like way before I moved to this new city. And so as a person who then has left their hometown, anytime I go back home, I'm seeing like drastic changes now. Whole neighborhoods looking super different. Businesses I know, especially post pandemic, that I
mhm,
grew up knowing and loving are already gone. And I also had like some feelings internally were like, man, I feel too young to be experiencing this already. Like it seems
mm,
like my elders talked about these things, but that they were older than I was. And so I'm knowing now also that you are a person that moved away from home and like this character in your film, when I'm thinking about these childhood homes or those like family staple homes that get sold, like
mhm,
I feel like some of us all have like that grandma, that auntie. It's like every holiday we're going to that person's house kind of thing. I'm curious what you feel like what is left.
mm.
What it does to a family. How do you rebuild that? How did you and your sisters actually rebuild that if you want to share that part? And what does home mean now once those things are either gone or just completely different? I know it's a big one. It's a big one.
Girl. So I will say that is the thesis of my film.
Mm,
Um,
mhm,
it's a funny film, it's a very funny film, but, um, the thesis of my film is the concept of home and if it still exists, if it's not in physical form, and in that film, I established that, yes, it does exist, and there's a motif throughout the film that we see is revealed at the end, and even my last action line in the film is the fact is was like, "She's gonna be alright." We don't know where she's
mhm.
going next, but we know she's going to be okay because she has her people with her, you know? I know after my grandma died, we actually started going to my aunt's for holidays. So my aunt lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and then she had kids now. So we
Okay.
started like a tradition where we would go there. And like my aunt lived in, it's Atlanta, like everybody living in a mansion. Everybody got 5 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So it was my grandma's like 1,000 square foot apartment, like 800 square foot to now. And it was
Multi-floor home kinda thing.
hello. But it was, like, so much fun, like, we'd all be in the house, we'd be staying up, playing Uno, and it was, like, a new chapter, and then first there was 1 kid, and then she had another kid, and, now, like, her kids, I'm always like, those are, like, my firstborn children, you know?
Oh, yeah, true.
And yeah, and it's really cool. Now they actually live in the Caribbean, so, now for holidays, we don't really do anything too crazy, but I will say for those years that we were going to my aunt's was a lot of fun, and it was a new chapter, and it was a different chapter. It was very different, but it was a good time, you know?
Mhm,
It was a good time. Um, I think for now in my life, I have a really complex relationship with home.
mm.
Because for the first time I went to New York for the years I've lived in LA, I've been like, "I miss New York, I hate LA, wanna go back, wanna go back, wanna go back." But it's the fact that I'm like, "You're doing well here," you know?
Mm.
In the first 3 years I was in LA, I just hit year 4, August 1st. In the first 3 years, I had done more than I had done in New York. Like,
Wow.
to the point where I recently came to the conclusion that I have to think of new dreams because I've already accomplished the things. I already
Come
saw the
on.
things that I imagined. So now I'm like, "You need to start imagining new things."
Come on.
And it's like when I
I
was in New
love
York,
that.
I couldn't even think that big. Like, I had Kim Coleman cast my film. Kim Coleman is a filmmaking icon, you know?
Mm.
Like, Kim Coleman found Damson Idris in
Oh,
a
cool.
casting call for Snowfall. She casted Zola. She casted Black Klansman. Like,
Mm.
she is that girl, you know? And it's like, I met Kim and she actually read my film and was like, "Yeah, I'll cast it." And it's like,
Wow.
you know what I mean?
Iconic.
Really? And it's like, it's like, "Oh, I actually have a rapport with her," you know? And it's like,
Yeah.
I couldn't have imagined that when I was in New York, just got fired. I couldn't even think that I would think that would never happen. That could never
Yeah.
happen. So it was like this weird thing of like, "Oh, I miss New York and I wanna go back and da 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 da," but then it's like, "But you're doing well here, things are," you know, and I feel like it's like push, pull, push, pull. And every time I go back to New York since I moved, it's not the same. My friends ain't the same. I'm not the same. So as a result, other things are not going to be the same. On top of that, the environment changes. Like every place
Yeah.
has changed after COVID, drastically. And this last time I went to New York was the first time I went. And I was like, I want to go back to LA.
Whoa.
It was the
Oh my
first time
god.
I was at JFK and I was like, I've seen enough. Get me back to
Time to
LA.
go home.
Time to
Whoa. Ah, that's so crazy.
crazy, but it's like I finally feel like I finally found contentment. Where it's like I'm finally
Mhm.
content with the life that I have here in LA. And it's not perfect. I don't have a million friends. I'm not, you know, on the scene. I'm not invited to all the things, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, I
Mhm.
built a life here. Like I've been in LA for 4 years. That's college.
Mhm.
That is
And you
college.
built something
And I'm built
worth coming
something.
back for.
And what I realize is my life in New York does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Mm.
exist, and there's some sadness there, and there is grief in that, but it's almost like the universe and God, like, they, like, lit a fire. Like, I'm walking and there's a fire being lit behind me, so it's like I don't even have the
Mm.
option to go back to my old life. It's just not there,
Yeah.
you know?
Whew.
And I think
Mhm.
that I'm just so meant to just keep steadfast and just keep looking forward, you know? I'm not being given the option to go back for a reason.
Yeah, I appreciate that perspective. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's been interesting. It's been, like, years in the making of just feeling like for a very long time, I just felt like I was like, "I don't feel like I belong.
Mm.
I don't feel I belong. I don't think I belong here," you know? And then I remember when I graduated from film school, I went abroad. It's one of the things when I was in
Mhm.
college, I regretted so much never studying abroad when I was at Howard. I was a French minor. I should have gone to Paris, you know?
Yeah.
Why didn't I go? And I felt like Howard is, like, such a vibe that, like, I was just, like, so in the vibe that I was
Yeah.
gonna miss out on anything because I felt like there was always something going on, you know?
That's real, yeah.
And in hindsight, it's like, "Girl, if you don't get your ass up out of there," you know?
Yeah.
And I should
Cause the
have
time
gone
gonna pass anyway,
and I should have
as
gone
we
studied
learn.
abroad. As we now know, I
Yeah.
should have studied abroad. This is one of the things, you make decisions, those are consequences.
Yeah.
When I graduated from grad school, I was like, "You're going abroad. It's not gonna be the same, but you're going to do something that you said you always wanted to do." So I went and I was abroad for like 4 months. Found a sublet in LA. I was in London. I stayed like a month in Paris. Then I was in South France. And I was like, why is it that I feel like I belong more here than I do back over there? And I was talking
Mm.
to a guy friend of mine, Jamad, and he was like, DeeDee, I think it's because like you're one of those people where like you haven't seen it all yet. There are some people where like this is it for them. You know,
Yeah.
they're gonna buy the house, they're gonna find the spouse, they're gonna have the kids, they're gonna do the thing, they're gonna do work, even if their work is interesting and takes them places like this is it. And he was like, that's not you. You haven't even scratched the surface. That's why you feel like you don't belong, because you don't. Because there's still more for you to tackle.
What a beauty to be seen by your friend like that. That's
I
so
know
awesome.
he's great. He's a gem of a friend. I met him through other friends, and like we've just,
Yeah.
really hit it off, but he's a gem of a friend. It was like actually this year, like this time last year, because I remember it was after the premiere of my first screening. And I looked
Whoa.
fly that day. I looked fly. Oh, he was like,
As
"DeeDee, you
you
look
should.
good." I was like, "I know." You know what I mean? But it was the fact that I just had this amazing screening. It was in a packed theater, everybody laughing, everyone wants to talk to me after, and I'm sitting there on a couch with them after, and I'm like, "Why do I feel like I don't belong?" You know?
Mm,
You would think I'd be on this
mhm.
side, like I was, but deep down, I'm like, "Why do I just still feel like
Like
this?"
something's missing.
And he's like, "Because there is something missing. It's because there
Yeah.
is." You know what I mean? Like, you're not crazy. Like, there's more for you, And now it's a year later, and now I just feel like there's less missing.
Wow, what a reward. Yes.
It's not
I
the cup isn't completely full, but
right,
it's
yeah.
better than it used to be.
Didi, I feel like we gonna need a part 2, like, real quick, because I feel like we could sit here for a couple more hours.
Listen, it doesn't help that I am a chatty patty. I've always my superlative was always loudest and most talkative. So it, I'm not helping it, but we absolutely have to run this back. Maybe
No, for real.
every year, or like when you see those podcasts and like it's like the repeat guests.
Yes, you gonna be my repeat guest. I'm calling it right now.
Please, please, inshallah, I would love to be your repeat guest.
Yes. Okay, we have to move on to the next segment called PLC Playlist. We
Okay.
wanna know what's something you've been playing recently so we can put it on our playlist and the girls can play it on set.
Okay. Let's see. Now I gotta open up my Spotify and we going to see.
Samesies.
I know one artist I'm going to put is Makami. He's a Haitian rapper
Mhm.
from Newark, New Jersey. You know
Mhm.
Ma?
Absolutely.
Okay, my type of girl. I went to Makami's first
Mhm.
concert that he did in New York. It was at Lincoln Center. And it
Oh,
was
wow.
overlooking Columbus Circle in New York, like Christopher Columbus, and it was the day before Thanksgiving, and it was the sickest experience of my life. Just like the juxtaposition of this Haitian man, like reclaiming Columbus, and Thanksgiving.
Right.
It was no phones, no all we have is the memory. Everyone's phone
Whoa.
needed to be like it was in a pouch, and then they unlocked it when you left, but it was dope. It
Dang, that's so iconic.
it was so iconic. I saw it on fucking Reddit, I found out. I saw an ad and I was like, "Ain't no way." And then I went and it took
Gotta
me to
be
Live
there.
Nation and I said, "Oh, this is real." So, we'll put Copy Cold, Makami from Rich Ass Haitian, and that is his song with Black Thought, and I love that song.
Beautiful.
We'll put that,
Perfect. We're adding that to the playlist. I cannot wait to hear it because I don't think I know that one off top, but
and then I love
PLC.
Seal. Seal
Oh,
is just
for real?
my dream is to go to a Seal concert. My friend, she's from Colorado. She saw Seal perform at Red Rocks Amphitheater.
This is so funny. What song from
Friend
Sue?
Lisa, she saw Seal and then it rained. I was like,
The
"Are you
perfect person to rain to.
it's the perfect person?" And it's her and her mom singing "Kiss from a Rose," and I'm like, ah. Okay, so I'm gonna say Seal, Future Love Paradise, but the live in Paris version.
Oh, yes.
They ain't
Live
nothing
in
better than a
Paris
live album.
version. I do love a live album.
Live album. It's
It be
so
doing the things. Yeah.
okay. Then I'm gonna do something a little ratchet.
Oh, period. You
Um,
making a playlist for the playlist.
yeah,
I
I'm
like
just doing a
this.
little ratchet. I'm between two. I'm gonna put Aztec Baby Bash for the World with
Aztec Baby Bash for the world.
Bash for the World's the artist. And then I'll put honorable mention Portobello Young Nudie. I like me some Young Nudie.
Portobello Young Nudie. I know a couple of Young Nudie songs. He decent. And he's much older than I thought.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's like our age. I thought he
Oh,
was,
see,
you
I
know what I'm
thought he was
saying?
one of them little
Mm,
ones.
yeah, me too. I said, "Oh."
Let me. Oh, he's 32. Oh, look at that.
You know?
I thought he was one of them little kids.
Me too. Okay. So for me, my PLC playlist edition, I actually made a playlist for a homie of mine not too
Mm,
long ago, for a dinner party. And he was just like, it's just a cozy din din kind of vibe. But to me, that means a couple different things. And he was
mhm,
like, do what you want. I got you. So I'm like, okay, cool. And so it had me deep in a house bag.
mhm.
So my edition for today is Mr. Fingers' Mystery of Love.
Okay, I'm
And
not hip.
I feel like once you hear it, you'll know. It's one of them ones where it's like, oh, I've definitely heard this beat before. You
Mr.
know,
Fingers, what?
Mystery of Love.
Mystery of Love. Okay.
Hmm. Perfect. Now on to the next segment called Photographs Not Taken. This
Mm,
is actually everybody's favorite segment, which makes me really happy talking about validation because
mm.
this is the question that was the foundation of the podcast. This is the first question I knew I wanted to ask everybody because it's something that I just think about all the time. So, what's a photograph you wish you would have taken but never did?
Say legitimate photos I wish I took. I wish that summer I lived with my grandma. I wish I took photos of her.
Yes. Summer 2016?
Yeah. And I shoot film exclusively. Um,
Mhm.
and at the time, I was like almost like a bit scared of my grandma. Like it was scaring me that she was dying. And so it's like I felt like I was always like keeping like an arm's length, you know? I was taking
That
care
makes
of her.
sense.
It's not like I was snuggled up with her in her bed. I wasn't,
Yeah.
you know? And I wish I took photos of her. Yeah. But it's also
So
why I take so many photos now.
no, for real. We deep about the archive over here. We
We
gotta
are
have
very deep about the archive. And I've actually started like keeping my scans, like keeping my negatives
nice.
and stuff. I never used to, like, "Oh,
Good.
I scan." I'm like, "Oh, whatever." But I'm like, "No, Imma keep them now." I also one day want to print because sometimes I would print photos, sometimes I would, sometimes I wouldn't. But
Mhm.
back in the day when you didn't choose which one you wanted to print, which one you didn't, you printed them all. You usually printed 2 copies of each.
Exactly.
Eventually, I want to because I have them all in a hard drive now. Like I took them off Google Drive. Now they're on a hard drive. And I want to actually like print out every single photo that I have. That'll be like a long-term project.
Yes. That's so beautiful. Also, this reminds me, there real photos of your family in the film? Like the photos on the wall?
The photos on the wall were photos of my family.
Beautiful. I was hopeful. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I hope that's really like her people right there." That's so beautiful.
Yeah. All my family, it was like photos of my parents from their first communion, pictures of my sisters. When I was okay, I'm directing this film, I called my sister. I said, scan every photo before 2000.
There you go.
Scan them.
That's
And they
awesome.
scanned them all to me. And that was in the frames.
That's so beautiful. Okay, now we wanna know the gear don't matter, but this segment is all about the equipment we use. I started this segment because for photographers, especially, folks are always like, "Oh my god, what camera are you using?" Because they think the gear is more valuable than the artist.
Mm,
And while we love our tools, the tools that we use help us shape the stories that we're trying to create. I wanted to reaffirm that we are the true artists behind all these tools while still celebrating the things that we use and we love. So I want to know what's
Let me
your
get
favorite
things for
piece?
you.
Yeah.
What's my favorite? I'm
Yeah.
gonna show you.
Yes. I love a show and tell. Come on.
So this camera, it's a Canon BF7. There's tape on the bottom.
Hmm.
I
That's how you know
got
it's
this at a
real.
market in Barcelona for 20 euros.
Oh, yes.
And it's my sturdiest camera to date. And it
Oh,
wasn't tested.
man.
I also don't speak Spanish. You know what I mean? So literally, I had a camera that I bought on like Mercari, and it died on me when I was on my trip. It was just an old camera, but I was like, I was living abroad, so I was like, I need my
Yeah.
camera. So went to looked online, and they said there's this flea market in Spain. I was in like the sticks of Barcelona, like ain't no tourist was there. This was the real flea market.
Yeah.
And I didn't speak no Spanish, but people said they have electronics. So I was like, all right, let me just see. Saw this compact, best camera to date. But before
Oh
I
my
started
god.
investing in my own camera, I used to do a lot of disposables. And then eventually I'm like, girl, you just need to buy the camera. So it was like
Yeah.
about 5 years ago, I started actually with the camera. And I took this photo when I was in Haiti for the first time in 2018. And I went to Capation, which is in like the north part of Haiti where my dad's from.
Mhm.
And I took this photo on a boat going from the mainland to like a private beach. And we
Mm.
had to go by boat. And I took this photo with a Fujifilm camera.
Wow.
And
Oh
it's my
my
favorite
goodness.
photo I've ever taken.
Do you have it framed? You need to frame
So
this.
I actually have all my pictures just like on my wall like this,
Okay,
but
beautiful.
so it is on my wall, but one day I told myself, because I never posted the photos I took in Haiti. I had Polaroids and I had the Fujifilm, but I never posted any of the photos. But I
Yeah.
also want to go back to Haiti, but now I have a bit more sophisticated, my skills have obviously improved since then. But
Right.
I told myself this is the kind of photo that one day I will do like high quality prints for and just like, edit them a little bit. This is no editing, no nothing. Um,
Wow.
One day I want to go do like a nice print of it, good paper, um, and I will auction it for a fundraiser. Like sell a certain amount of those
Yes.
prints for a fundraiser. So like one day I'll do that. And it's like I got like 20 prints, limited edition. It'll go for a
Come
fundraiser.
on.
Yeah.
I love this. I appreciate the imagination too.
Thank you.
And we've made it to the last segment of our show called Shoot Your Shot. This segment is to give us the opportunity to dream together, help you manifest something that you really, really want in right now.
Mm,
So, I would love to know who is somebody or a company maybe you would like to direct for, maybe a story you would love to maybe get in Tribeca if that's one of your
mm.
goals, something like that. What are you thinking?
Two things. There's this project
Mhm.
that I really care about. I guess they call them the passion projects. And it is about Haitian migrants at the border in South Beach, Miami. And that is a project that I hope that I can look back on and it's like, "Oh, I did it."
Yeah. Ah! Whoa.
I was a finalist
Okay.
in a Sundance, program. I didn't get in. They only chose 2 people, but I was a finalist out of, like, 1,800 applications,
Mhm.
um, with that concept for that film. So when I got into
Mm.
that, or when I made it that far, it was one of those things that it wasn't just an idea anymore. It was like, "Oh, no, DeeDee, like, I think you have something here," you know?
Yeah, like, you gotta make this.
Yeah, like, keep going because clearly it was that good. I've met multiple people who are like, "Oh, I applied to that too, I just got rejected." I didn't make it to the next step. So, that is a project that I hope I look back on and it's like, "And it happened," and I hope it'll be actualized. And then on the other tip, I wanna start directing commercials. I wanna do commercial work.
Ooh, commercials,
I wanna direct
yes.
a commercial.
Well, in that case, I cannot wait for us all to have our screening day watching your film about the Haitians at the border. I cannot wait. I know it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a packed house. Everybody's going to be looking really great. And then after that, we're going to turn on the TV and see maybe about 3, 4 commercials that you directed. And the
Yes!
bag is going to be heavy. Okay.
Just she said 3 or 4. I said, "That's what I'm talking about. Have multiple."
Exactly. All at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yes.
DeeDee, this conversation has been so beautiful. I'm so grateful to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank
Can you tell the
you. Thank
people where you
you.
would like to be found?
You guys can find me on Instagram at ChicDDC, ChicDDC. And then also follow the film at Last Hoorah at G Babies. I have some screenings coming up. So you will always be up to date there. I have a screening at Newport Beach Film Festival next weekend, which is only an hour drive. And then I have
Mm,
a screening at the AMC at the Grove in December. So
beautiful.
please come out.
And you can find us at Photographer Life Check wherever you get your podcasts. Please be sure to subscribe specifically on YouTube and Spotify because that's where you can watch us and hear and see all these beautiful guests and see all their beautiful work. So make sure you tap in there. And you can find me, your host, at QURISSY, also pretty much everywhere else. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Thank you.